Welcome to Music in the Making. We are 3 high school and junior high music teachers from West Central Illinois. Each week we will talk about our experiences in the classroom, community, and personal lives too. We're no experts by any means, but any help we can provide to our audience of music friends is why we pursue this new venture. Please welcome your hosts, Lisa Hallen, Art Martinez, and Kevin Ferry.
Till 6, 5:45 is the end of their rehearsal.
Not sure why my kids have their phones, but...
Well, mine have been texting me this whole time.
Me too.
Hey, your choir came in here? I'm like, you are a part of the choir. You couldn't just tell them to get out of the rehearsal space?
Mm-hmm.
You know what these people don't realize?
Is that we're recording already?
That we've already started recording.
Yeah. I mean, anybody that's listened to it knows that that's your trick. And there have been times where he's had to go back and we've had to restart because I might have sworn a few times. And he's got to restart the record.
But nothing beats the very first time when I actually started recording. And Lisa's like, that's illegal. Come in. Oh, it's locked.
It's because of my special guest.
Hey. Oh, hey. What room is this?
This is
The hottest room in the building.
CSB room.
CSB.
Community State Bank donated the funds for it, but it's the alternative room.
Oh.
So all the...
So when you don't do your work, you go to that.
We are already recording.
And now the Music in the Making podcast is in the alternative room.
CSB.
Oh my gosh. Welcome back to another episode of Music in the Making. We are in a unique location this week, aren't we, Mr. Ferry?
Unique is a good word.
So we are actually doing this live at the TRAC, the Three Rivers Athletic Conference Honor Band and Choir. It happens every year, so we all nominate some students to go to this awesome event. Essentially, it's kind of like the IMEA format we talked about last time. We nominate students, and they get music ahead of time. They come to this event as prepared as they can be, and then they're all day with a guest conductor, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of rehearsing. It's a long day for them, but honestly, it's really cool to see them put a whole concert with so many new faces and abilities together, and it just ends up in an awesome.
I do want to point out that this is called the Three Rivers Athletic Conference Music Festival. So yeah, I mean,
it takes some.
Oh, wait a minute, we need to have music too.
The athleticism is getting all the equipment off the bus. So we are joined by a few guests today. If we wouldn't want to just kind of go around the room and say who we are and what school we go to.
Yeah, hi, I'm Alex Binek. I'm one of the band directors at Kewanee High School.
Our host school for today.
School today, very, very gracious for that.
Exotic Kewanee.
Or as Art likes to say, Kewanee.
Kewanee.
Hey, I looked
He's
it up.
gotten better.
I looked it up, but yes, I've been forced corrective around here. So anyway.
Well, I'm Katie Yelm. I am the choir teacher at Kewanee High School.
Madeline Anningate, student teacher at Monmouth Roseville.
Kaitlyn McCullough, choir director at Orion High
You
School.
sure it's not Orion?
Orion High School.
It's okay. When I
And
came
middle
down to
school?
this area, I said, "Why are you guys saying it wrong?" They're like, "No,
No, that's it.
you're saying it
That's
wrong."
it.
And the one and only Mr. President of ILMEA, Step Daddy Curty. Sorry, wait, that's not his official name.
Curtis Fisher-Oelschaelger, Rock Ridge Junior and Senior High School.
Inside
Hey,
joke.
our dozens of listeners are going to be like, who's Step Daddy Curty?
Anyway, but we are so thankful to be together at this event. It was funny. I was telling someone the other day that I feel like once we get out of marching band, it's just conferences like these. That's all we ever get to go to. But I tell you what, it's one of my favorite times because to talk with other directors and even if we're all going through the same thing, it's nice to communicate and share our troubles and our funny stories that have happened since the last time we ran into each other. But again, this event is really, really cool. I mean, I can't really recall in my high school career doing too many of these kinds of events. That's just it. But having different types of programs, you already have your types of events that you already set up to go to every year, like IMEA, and for us it's the Three Rivers Athletic Conference. Last week we had Prairie Land conference, which essentially is for the same exact thing as track, but just for the junior high level. But yeah, no, I'm so glad we're here. It's 1 year later, and here we are back again.
Guess who's back?
Guess. Oh yeah, Lisa's here.
Lisa's
too.
here.
I mean, I think we all assumed Lisa was here. We just didn't let her talk.
I was
really
a little
don't
afraid you were going to ask me to introduce myself on my podcast.
Hey,
It's her podcast.
it's her podcast. Yeah.
Her podcast. Just so you know.
You know what I mean.
But to the Lisa's listeners definitely know what it means.
I think one of the things I'd like to hear from our wonderful guests is like, I know how we prepare and what we do, and like no holds barred. Like I'm going to be honest, like my kids looked at this music Thursday or Friday, and they looked at it Monday, right? And like I know Curtis is completely opposite of that to me. So I'd like to hear what everybody else does to prepare their kids. I know like Art and Alex and Lisa have just come out of marching band, like Jake was talking earlier. Like this is kind of tough to schedule, but I'd like to hear what everybody else does as far as how do you choose your students and what rehearsal techniques. Because one of our things with this, and a few of you I know have listened to an episode or 2 or 6, other than Lisa who doesn't listen to our podcast. I know.
She struggled through the mini-sode.
She did.
That was 10 minutes.
But what do you guys do in order to, one, what are you thinking about when you're nominating kids? Number 2, how do you prepare the kids? And like, I don't think any answers are like, I gave the kids the music today. I didn't do that, but I don't think that's a wrong answer because I know some people sitting out there in the library, that's exactly what they did today. Mm-hmm. They said, here's your folder with the music today, learn it. And I'm just curious if any other young music educators are actually listening to us and they have a conference music festival like this, here are the other things that other people do other than Monmouth Roseville for getting ready for your conference music festival.
Mm-hmm.
Step Daddy.
Start?
Step Daddy.
We don't have a fall concert, so that's why I can spend so much time on the music for both TRAC and for ILMEA. So we started out the year, we were learning all the ILMEA songs, all 6 of them. And then when we got the excerpts, we cut back and we were just focusing on the excerpts. Then once auditions were over, we went back to learning the full songs and making sure that the kids who were selected are prepared on all 6 songs and then also all the TRAC songs. The only other things we're working on right now are our 2 Christmas songs that we're recording next week for KWQC. And then after that, we'll start our Christmas music.
So do you purposely, like, have you ever had a fall concert?
No.
And you don't want one, obviously, because you're
Absolutely.
Curtis. If you wanted a fall concert, you'd be like,
I would
I'm
have
doing
one.
a fall concert. But is that because of all of your involvement extracurricularly with ILMEA plus assistant marching band? Or is it just, this is the one thing I'm not going to do? Because, like, we've all asked you, when do you sleep? Because you never do.
I've never had the desire to perform these songs on our own. We're preparing them to be these better performances that are going to be here and at Augustana. So I don't feel the need to, because like I know other schools have fall concerts and they just do the ILMEA music or the TRAC music. Well, I don't need that other performance. So
Sure.
and I prepare all the kids in the choir. All the kids, even if they're not here, they know these songs.
Mr. Host?
Yeah, so I handed my kids the music on Friday after the one clarinet player reminded me for the 3rd time. And it's just, with marching band, we just get so far behind on stuff like this. And it's not that I don't want my kids to be prepared. Of course I do. But it's just, we were done. We had a competition 2 weeks ago, and then we were hoping to be done, and then there's a playoff football game. And we're, so all that keeps piling on. Fortunately, when I go through the nomination process, I kind of keep that in mind, and I try to choose kids who are good sight readers. I choose kids who are going to come in and work hard, have a positive attitude, and make the best of the experience. So not necessarily my most talented performers, but the kids who can really make the most of this particular festival experience.
Don't forget, I want to ask a question about the selection process after we hear what everybody did to get their kids prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first I had to fight Alex for which kids I was. No, I'm just kidding.
You took all of mine.
This is Mrs. Host, by the way.
We let them choose this year. He came to me with a list and said, "Let me know which ones chose choir." and all of them that are in choir chose to go on my list. He said, well, that made my selection list much shorter. And then we kind of split it up from there. But any kid that I had on my list to nominate decided they were going the choir route. And like 3 weeks ago, I handed them all the music. And then when we got those tracks from, who sent the tracks? Kate?
Not us.
Kate sent the tracks. When she sent those tracks and we had the tracks for everything, I was like, hey, here it is. And I took kind of a very laid-back approach on the track music this year, and I said, there's your tracks. Have a great time.
The newbie.
This is newbie. I should preface by saying this is my first year teaching, so I'm really out here just kind of flying by the seat of my pants.
Not true.
I gave them the music a few weeks ago, whenever I received it from one of you two, and the email was forwarded to me, probably Mrs. Host. And I gave them the tracks, so the Sopranos and Altos had the tracks, and a lot of the kids that I sent have been it's been expected of them that they learn a lot of their music by tracks in years previous for the groups that they've been in, so they already sort of had that mindset. So it's my understanding that some of them listen to the tracks in practice. Now, did they? I don't know. But
One soprano did.
Yes. And I had fully intended on going through the music with them, having them sight rated on Friday, and then fell ill. So didn't do that. So my kids are the ones out there sight reading it today.
I would say once the music was.
How about Lisa talks?
She's on that side of the table though. I'm pointing to that side of the table, which is all the way over there.
I really appreciate that, Mr. Ferry, but Mr. Martinez is the one who did the preparation for them. So
the mic gets moved back over to me, and then, as I was saying, so once the music was submitted, I just forward her the emails.
Sometimes.
And then, sometimes. And then her
She's
inbox
not
was
even on the emails?
Mr. Host.
Lisa Howland, assistant band director. You have the assistant band director.
I got today.
Did I just? Oh wait, did I just say that publicly?
No, I might be. I got today's, but there were some.
Was a big change.
See when her inbox increases by 1 every day, which is like already like 1,000, it just gets that much more stressful.
What?
No, I am on there. We're fake news. There's a lot of things.
Just kidding.
Anyway, so once the music once the music was chosen and the parts were the parts were divvied up, I tried to print them off as soon as I could, and then I just handed them to the kids because we were actually still in marching band at the time. So I told them, like, here's the music. It's in 2 weeks, so hopefully the week when we get like after marching band, we'll kind of take a look at this. Well, we also had final day for symphonic band auditions the Monday right after marching band. So I'm like, okay, well, we won't do that. The next day we had to like figure out, like, make sure everyone knows who was where. I had to pass out all the other concert band music, and so it ended up being like this morning that we actually like worked on it. So, but it wasn't too bad, and the kids were usually pretty good at sight reading, and they actually liked some of the stuff that they were looking at. And I'm like, guys, you're gonna be surrounded by so many other people, that will give you the confidence to just keep playing. So they were fine with it. But
So when all band directors say you're gonna be surrounded by people that already know this,
you're all full of crap.
Guys, they probably don't have marching band.
We're going to let the non-marching band kids learn all this.
Carry us.
That's awesome.
So, but I mean, I will say this. I know, and last year being not only my first year at Monroe's, but then also trying to learn what TRACS is, and also we were in charge of picking the music. I mean, it was like, whoo, I'm like trying to find a good like balance of that. So I was actually at least happy. I at least got them the music way earlier than last year. So I was at least proud of that improvement. But going forward, definitely trying to make more time for it would be the goal. Just to kind of give them more, just more chance at reading it through, and like for me too, because it's like I any of these time I see a composer that I don't know, I try to listen to the music and whatnot. And honestly, hearing the kids play today, especially the Nishimura, oh my gosh, so cool. Chasing Sunlight by Kate Nishimura. Look it up if you haven't heard it before. So.
Sing it because you always do whenever you.
Da dee da dee da dee da dee
If you've ever
da dee,
listened
and then
to
it's like
our podcast,
whole
anytime he
note,
mentions a song.
half note, half note. It
Nailed
looks
it.
harder than it is.
Nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. So just like the real thing. So anyway.
And again, I'm just curious as to how people select, because a lot of times Lisa and Art and I will talk about, IHSA solo and ensemble, and all of us in here are big solo and ensemble people, and then the debate of whether music should be a competition or not. Then we talk about show choir competitions, jazz competitions, marching band competitions, but for some reason, solo and ensemble competition is taboo. It's like, it's bad. If you want to compete in solo and ensemble, that's just the worst thing ever. Well, shut up. It's not. It's awesome. But I've heard different people throughout the email chains over the past several years with all of the different conferences that we've all been associated with of, well, this should be a senior thing. Or this should be whatever. So I'm curious as to what your philosophy is on how do you choose the students that you're going to bring to an all-conference festival. Mr. Presidente?
For Rockridge, we lean towards seniority because I want them to get the opportunity. Yes, I have some great freshmen or sophomores, but they'll have more chances to get in. So I start there, and we do ask the kids and let them decide if they want to do band or choir, if they're involved in both. And then all the guys came. So.
And then all the guys. Yeah, I get that.
All you guys are gonna go. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you all can't see us, but I'm next to Curtis in the circle, but Lisa's in between us. But she's deferring everything to Art right now.
That was one thing.
Mrs. Hallen, how does the band select the?
Hey everyone. So, funny story. As we were about to pass the microphone to Lisa, Kevin somehow did something to the microphone that knocked out the sound. So there was a brief moment in there where you can tell it got cut out a little bit. And then I had to sit there and kind of figure it out, pause the podcast, pause everything, and then we had to go back. But don't worry, once we kind of figured it out, we continued on with things. But sorry about the delay, but back to it. That might be it. Okay, I don't know what you did.
Are we on?
Yeah, I think so.
Are we back?
I think
Kevin
so. Okay.
broke it.
Okay, I don't. So there was a moment there, like Release was talking. So sorry if it just kind of like cut out. But in her defense,
No kidding.
Kevin
we actually get emails. We get emails from people that tell us to have her talk more.
in her
She's only talked 22% of the time. We're like, are you kidding me?
in her defense, Kevin moved the mic, and I have no idea what he did. So just saying. Anyway, but I will say that I'm very thankful that I have someone to bounce off of, ideas in generally. But for something like this, because it's like as soon as my brain goes to symphonic and concert band, not to leave out concert band, but I'm not thinking of seniors in general, because concert band is not freshman only. It is it is an all-encompassing 9-12. Symphonic band is also 9-12, but it's a lot smaller. But it's an audition group and whatnot. So when it came to the list, I was trying to choose people who, not only deserve it, but I want to make sure that they are representing us in the best talent that we have, the best sounds that we have. But it's also a balance of who's the kid that's maybe on the cusp of having that great talent, but they just need an opportunity like this to build that confidence, to have that opportunity of oh my gosh, look at all these other people doing what I do, and maybe secure that, okay, so I am doing the right things, because symphonic band, it's a lot of one on the part. We have a couple sections with maybe two people, but when it gets into contest music and stuff, we want to make sure that everyone's very secure, and it does start to split up in high school. There isn't only one saxophone part, only one clarinet. It's clarinet 1, 2, and 3, and I have 3 clarinets, so they're each going to be on a part. So I think to do an event like this, I try to think not just talent, but I think just what is like who are our best people that we can send for them to like solidify their confidence, and especially if it's someone who is maybe like even like a sophomore or a junior for sure. The senior only thing I think definitely can exclude some students who who might be a little bit younger, but could outplay other seniors as well. So it's a balancing act. I think there's a lot to consider. So if you're a beginning teacher, you want to don't just take your best players. Take the players who are maybe about to be your best players and use something like this to build their confidence and to keep working on their sounds and working on their reading ability, their rehearsing, and all whatnot. This
is a great event for the section players, the ones who do not want to take a solo to IHSA, that they're not going to be your superstars, playing individually, but they can hold their own and they're awesome players. They just don't want that soloing because there's going to be multiple people on the part, and they can come and represent our music program because they're a very important part of it. They're just a different type of musician. I think that's a really great part of this.
Yeah, I think I might be a little bit of a jerk on this because I look at it as an all-conference distinction, and having that coaching background, I just went to the football coaches all-conference selection committee, and man, that can be freaking brutal. But I rank my kids and the top. I think we get to nominate 3 sopranos, 3 altos, and then
however many tenors or basses.
How many other tenors, basses, and I nominated the guys, but I put them in order. And then the weird thing about this, and we just talked about this in our meeting, is the timing of this. Rock Ridge, Monmouth, Roseville, and Princeton, right, are still left. I lost 4 guys today because they're at football practice tonight because we've got to play on. We've got to play on Saturday, so they had practice today. So I grabbed the next 3 guys on the list and just brought them with. So I look at this as an all-conference distinction. I had a freshman on the list, a freshman baritone, because he was my 3rd best baritone. So that's what I look at. Yeah. Mr. Host.
Yeah, I take a similar approach. So I'll create a short list of maybe 20, 25 kids who I think can handle it, would represent well, and kind of deserve to go. And then I'll work with the other band director and kind of ranking that list number 1 through whatever. A lot of the kids were also in the choir, so when they chose to go to choir, they came off my list. And then we send that ranked list back to the conference. And I have a couple really solid upperclassmen flute players, but we had a freshman flute player at the top of that list because she's the best of the group. So I do tend to nudge a little towards seniors as well. It's like a tiebreaker, if anything. Mm-hmm. But I do, rank them like you said there.
Yeah. I was instructed by Mr. Host when I first got here that this was kind of a tip your hat to those people. That's an exact phrase he used. It's a tip your hat sort of situation. And I do it very similarly. I have 2 senior sopranos here, but I have a sophomore soprano in that 3rd slot. She's good and she deserves to be here, and she's not going to embarrass us with her behavior, and she's going to work hard through the music, and it's going to give her the confidence.
It sounds like she's talking to that student right now, right?
It's going to give her the confidence.
If we could pick one Kiwani student who would listen to this podcast, it's probably her.
There you go. There you go. We'll send you the link. You forward it on.
But yeah, so it's just more of a tip your hat. But seniors, there's seniors in every single one of my sections. But then it's no, you don't quite fit the bill in terms of can you handle learning all this music mostly by yourself / at the conference today.
Yeah, I think it's a balancing act for me as well, because there's a lot of events that I can send kids to, a lot of honor choirs and trips and clinics and things. But for this, I was sort of thinking I have a small ensemble too, so I don't have 50 kids to choose from. But the kids that I brought with me today are my top singers. They are my best behaved kids. They read well. They, I think I already said they behave well. That was a huge factor, as you couldn't tell.
And just us old fuddy-duddies. First field trip with kids today.
Yeah.
First field trip with kids today.
Did you drive a bus?
I drove a little big mom vehicle. I drove like a bus here, but they put all the boys with me, so we listened to all of Freebird on the way here.
I was waiting for Taylor Swift or something.
No, it was like driving with a bunch of dads. It was. The girls thought I was in the bus. I was not driving the bus.
Dad
so they're like,
rock.
Miss McCullough, you're not driving this. No, I'm not driving the bus. Anyway, yes, first field trip. But I also wanted to bring a couple of students who maybe were freshmen or sophomores who are almost to that point where they can stand out and be my leaders. Like my freshman that reads well, but maybe her behavior's not all the way there. But I say, hey, maybe come on this field trip with us. Sit next to the senior that's also going on your voice part, and you know, bond with her, see what she does, let her be a role model, and get this like big choir experience.
I would like to add too, really quick, like if there are things that, like, if your principal ever asks you like differentiate instruction, stuff like this is for your gifted kids too. Like in IMEA,
Yes.
it's like it's not about like only the good people get to go. It's like the kids who also deserve to be going to things like this too. Like again, it's a balancing act of many things, but I just figured I'd throw that in. So if you ever hear the word differentiation, teaching, gifted kids get to go to these things for sure, because they need to be going to things like this and have challenging and memorable experiences, because it just makes them stronger and it gives them a really good outlet. So anyway.
So how's the day been for the host and hostess? Because like we've all hosted stuff before, but like I know any younger teachers listening might be like, hell no, I'm not hosting. I'm not hosting anything. So like Curtis and I, and even you guys, we've hosted Soul Ensemble and Organizational a million times. But what's the benefit, or the benefit is you guys don't have to get on a freaking bus today. But what are some of the pitfalls of hosting a conference music festival? And by the way, speaking on behalf of the entire Three Rivers Athletic Conference Music Festival directors, thank you for hosting every year, because holy cow, it's just one less thing everybody else has to worry about. But just can you talk about that process and what you guys go through to put this on?
Well, find yourself a Mr. Host who will do most of the work and share the credit, and then
Yeah.
I don't know. At this point, it really isn't that much work. I mean, other schools chose the repertoire, scanned the repertoire, found the guest directors, distributed the repertoire. All I did today, so I met with our athletic director about dinner a couple weeks ago. I got some snacks for the guest director. But really, I set up 200 chairs, and you put some name tags in the auditorium, and made sure the percussion instruments were available, and
changed all of Kevin's requested program changes for this evening.
Yeah.
During my Halloween party, he calls me.
I'm supposed to know you're at a Halloween party.
I'm at a Halloween party. Oh, that's fun. Let's talk about work.
That's not what I said.
Exactly what he said. I hear it.
Not what I said.
Sorry,
He said, go ahead.
No, he said, well, that's stupid. Anyway.
Fun.
Yeah.
And he was on with his conversation.
like Kevin.
That's not what I said.
I
believe
it.
Sorry, Alex.
I don't know how you do it, man.
Really
I don't know how you do it. I only had a semester of her.
Oh.
You've had her for a couple of years. Holy cow.
We've had our fun. So, but as far as hosting, I don't know. I have really supportive admin. So the principal's been involved. The athletic coach has been involved. We have a special events coordinator, Larry Flannery, been involved. Our music booster president's done a ton, Melissa Maxon. So.
Shout out.
We have to say shout out when we
Shout out. And so, I don't know. It's a well-oiled machine at this point. So
Is organizational contest a well-oiled machine too?
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Until you send us another 14 schools this year.
Yeah.
Be all right.
Yeah.
We're just doing it all day Saturday.
You agreed to that last spring.
No, I know. I'm down for it. But
Okay.
The oil, I have to add some more oil to the machine.
She emailed me the other day, Susie Noblock.
Yeah.
Shout out.
From the IHSA, there are going to be 30 schools at our Soul and Ensemble site.
Nice.
Oh man, we're
I
gonna be
don't-
there a lot longer.
No, I've got like 7 brass rooms now, and like 12 choir rooms, and like
Cool.
I don't want to be there longer
Well, you
than
guys, see,
3:30.
I could never host solo ensemble. I refuse. That's the one. Like organizational, no problem. Just put some chairs out.
It's like, I don't know enough people to find that many judges.
Yeah, but solo ensemble seems like the monstrous undertaking of hosting. So
I love it. I love hosting solo ensemble.
well, thank you
Keep
for
it
doing that.
live.
I would prefer to do solo ensemble than org.
Yeah.
Because like solo ensemble, like back me up on this or disagree with me totally to get the other perspective. Solo ensemble, nobody can. Changing the schedule is relatively easy. Organizational, dealing with all the requests of I have to go on Friday, I have to go on Saturday, I want to go at this time, I need these two groups to go here, and then these two groups to go here, and then this group to go here. Like that to me was way more frustrating than, out of whatever it is, 700, 800 entries, moving a couple, putting the definitely, in my opinion, setup for org is easier because, like you say, here's the band room, here's the choir room, and solo ensemble, you have to flip all of these rooms to be performance ready. Air quotes, sorry, TV audience. But like I think I can speak for everybody. But thank God that you guys agreed to do this because rotating it every year, everybody's going to get familiar. Like when we host, or now that as many times as we've been to Rock Ridge, like it took me 3 years or 4 years to figure out. Wait a minute. Where am I at? Because
Rock
Rock Ridge,
know my way around.
It's a maze.
It's a maze. Rock Ridge is awful to get around, but now I know where I'm at. But like once you've hosted something long enough, it just runs itself because the directors know where they're going. You get the new directors and they'll end up figuring it out, or hopefully they ask questions.
Or even some of the kids have been here before.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you go to the contest this year, you just ask your senior kids that have been there before, what am I doing? Where am I going?
I get lost in the school and they leave me around. I mean,
the big school of Orion.
Yeah,
Orion.
It's huge. Yeah.
I think what I learned though from like us hosting last year, I mean, being the first time I met Monmouth Rose, is like all the checklists of things is like once you have your system of delegating, I think it makes also like I think I just like learning how we do it. So ensemble-wise, I think it was like one of the coolest things ever because it's like it's overwhelming because it's like oh my gosh, I have to get this entire building ready for 1,000 people tomorrow. But it's like I have my people who are doing pianos, my people who are doing room signs, my people who are doing this, my people who are doing that. And then once you have your student helpers and each like person is assigned, and we'll talk about this probably when we actually get closer to solo ensemble a little bit more in detail. But I think like it takes the fear of hosting a large event like organizational or hosting a solo ensemble. It takes the fear out a little bit because you're like, oh, well, it's just a giant checklist, and the more help I have and the more hands I have, it actually becomes a lot simpler. Especially if you do it enough times, it becomes just like it just becomes routine.
Yeah. I really would like to hear from you, Curtis, because whenever you host, you're not only hosting, you're accompanying all of your kids. Like I don't have to do that, but I've always felt like, and I don't know what you guys think about that, he is the coolest cat in the building. Like nothing bothers him. He's just cool, calm, and collective. And if something comes my way like that day, I am frantic trying to figure it out.
And his whole face turns red.
Yeah, and Curtis is like, we'll get it taken care of. Don't worry about it. And so, I know that's kind of your demeanor as a person anyway. But how the hell are you always so calm when you're hosting?
It's making sure that you have good people in the office and that they can take care of this stuff. Because I know that for solo ensemble, I'm not going to be in the office very much. So knowing who's in there to answer questions, to put out the fires, I check in, but it's on them. It's not me.
Delegating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Delegating to self-sufficient individuals. Like,
mm-hmm.
If they can't handle it, you have delegated to the wrong person.
Right. But it's like if you're having student helpers too, like the one-track mind. It's like, what's the one thing you need to do? Move chairs. Okay, I'll move chairs. Okay. Like but then and that's all they do. And then they get into a groove. So every room they go to or every part of the building that they go to make sure that thing is done. I mean, it just makes it easier, and the delegation process is definitely
nice. Solo ensemble room monitors, right? You have room monitors, people sitting outside the door, right? What do? You open the door,
and you shut the door.
That's it. That's it. Just once you shut the door, nobody goes in. That's all I have to do. That's all you have to do. Like I could train.
When you hear the applause, then you can open the door.
Yeah. It's tough, but anyway, this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Like this has been really, really cool.
Yeah, it was your idea too last week to be like, we should do it at track, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be good.
Well, we
idea.
haven't. We didn't apologize to our audience. We haven't podcasted the last 2 Fridays because of stupid football.
Yeah, football's been
And we had a day off because we had parent-teacher conferences.
So we're recording this on the Monday after we should have recorded, but we had a half day. It was a actually, and Lisa wouldn't have been there anyway, so it wouldn't have been.
Somebody went wedding dress shopping.
Ooh. Miss Hallen's gonna become Mrs. Hallen next summer, and little does she know we're gonna have a podcast that day.
We are podcasting live from the wedding.
Play-by-play.
So we're
I'm
gonna have
a security guard checking bags.
so from the microphone will be sticking out of my chest. Like I don't have anything.
His microphone won't be in the back. So give us an update. What's the show called? The dress show? What's the dress?
Say yes to the dress.
Did you say yes to the dress?
I did not. Not
You
yet.
did not say yes to the
Not
dress.
yet.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna take another person.
What's North Utica gonna do?
Wait, what?
Isn't that where you went, Utica?
No.
Oh, where'd you go?
LaSalle.
Isn't that like potato?
Same thing.
It's like St. Bede. That's where you went to school.
No, it's not. LaSalle, Peru. She's gonna go dress shopping again.
Going dress shopping again.
on the next SIP day, probably.
So she texted me. She's like, "Is it taboo to take a personal day during an SIP day?" And I'm like, "No, they kind of frown upon it, but you can give it a shot." Did you tell him you were going dress shopping?
I did not.
You did now.
Shout out Jeff Ewing.
Just cut that in post.
Because he would have been like, "Oh yeah," because Jeff our principal
Yeah.
just got married, so he'd have been like, "Yeah, go get your dress." Girl." Okay, did not say yes to the dress. Well, that will be suspense for the weeks to come because you're getting married June 1st. You're about out of time.
I know.
Everyone keeps telling me that, but it's fine. We're gonna find something.
It's fine. One email at a time.
Well, and then Katie's getting married too.
Yeah.
I haven't said yes to anything yet except the ring, so.
See, we're fine.
Were you something in 2025? Or you don't know?
Maybe this summer.
Is that really an
Who knows?
engagement? If it's 2 years away, like that's a long engagement.
Still kind of.
Even if it's 5 hours away, does that decrease the amount of long that, like, does that
There's a
balance
formula
out?
there where the farther they
If
live
they're
away.
far-
You are so inappropriate.
No.
That was her that giggled at that. That was Lisa.
I was getting stressed wondering what you were gonna say. Cut.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you everyone. This has been a great episode. You can email us your questions, comments, or episode ideas at
Music.
oh boy.
It is 900 degrees in here. musicinthemakingpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook at Music in the Making Podcast. We also have IG is also Music in the Making Podcast as well.
No, you get it wrong every time.
You
You get it wrong every time.
Oh my gosh. YouTube is also Music in the Making Podcast. Kevin always likes to recommend that you put in quotes "Music in the Making" because that's the old school way of finding something exactly in
It's
quotes.
just the right way. It's just the right way. You keep saying old school. It's just the right way. Because if you put in Music in the Making, it's going to tell you how to make music, not the podcast.
So that's why you put it in quotes.
That's why you put it in quotes.
To be specific.
Specific.
Very good. You can listen to all our episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and we are now putting our episodes on YouTube as well. So those people who like to listen to YouTube at work, you can listen to us there.
Huge thank you to our wonderful, wonderful guests today.
Absolutely.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, thank
So
you
much
all
fun.
for being a part
We
of
might.
it.
Here, I have a suggestion. Everybody game for this Thursday night Presidential Suite podcast.
Live at IMAC!
After the opening, gala opening.
Yes. We're in. We're in, baby. Oh my gosh. All right.
And the
well,
question on everybody's mind is: will Lisa have one
Uh-oh.
or two?
Uh-oh. You'll just have to be there to find out.
And will she have said yes to the dress?
Oh, yeah! We'd want an update for sure, Jan.
Hopefully.
All right, anyway.
Girl